family, Nest Academy. A place where families are empowered to fulfill their destiny. A place where families can build legacy. A place where families can enjoy a wholesome and fulfilling life. And more.
Hello, welcome back to the Family Nest Wholesome Series. I am Princess Francisca Obichimize. Yes, today we'll be talking about raising children with destiny in mind. Yes, most times we are lost in the midst of the whole stress, pressure, and demand on us that the situation around determines our approach and our response to our children and to the things we do around raising them. Have you ever stopped in the midst of your discipline to ask yourself, what if I'm doing this in frustration instead of out of pleasure or out of destiny, knowing what I've been called to do in the life of this child? I understand most times it will not be practical, but that is the essence of intentionality, and that is why I have brought this discussion to us today. That in the midst of raising our children, there is a need to sit down for a while and ask ourselves, what exactly have I been called to do in the life of this child? Remember, I said this child, meaning it is specific and unique to every of your child. Even if they are 10, they have not been called to be or do the same thing in life. And you have not been called to raise them the same way. Will there be a general family vision, family values? Yes. But when it comes to helping each and every one of them to establish their destiny, to walk into what God has created them to be, you have a higher assignment as a parent. You have a greater demand not to mess it up, not to raise Ngoleka the way you are raising James, because James has been called to something different from Ngoleka. So it goes beyond feeding them. It goes beyond buying things for them, taking care of their daily living needs, or providing shelter. Those are the general parenting provisions we make. But there is a destiny provision God has called you to make in the life of your child. Let's read the scripture. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. The key words there are a child. The Bible didn't generalize here. It didn't say train up your children. Of course, train up your children in the way they should go. That's also applicable. But why I'm pointing this out is for you to understand that sometimes there is need for isolation of a child in the way he should go. That's another key word. The way he should go. Not the way culture says. All those things, that's the way we used to do it. That's the way they raised me. It does not work here. Because there is a demand on each child. What that child has been called to do. Not the way your fear is saying things, or the way you know how sometimes out of fear of what we have had, what we have seen growing up, dictates the way we treat our children. So you see a child does something, trauma will trigger you, and you now conclude in your heart, oh, this child will become useless if I don't do anything immediately. So you react, and most times we overreact because we have seen the end from that spot, even an end that is not applicable for that child. That's why we end up re-traumatizing our children based on the trauma we have not healed from, that most times we don't even identify. So the Bible is saying it's not based on your fear, based on the way that child should go. What has the Lord told you concerning that child? Even when this child is making mistake, the voice of God over that child should ring. He is the prophet of his generation. God is not telling you he will turn out like your brother that didn't turn out well. God did not say she will become like your sister that is misbehaving. God has said something concerning your child. So when you have it in view, it helps to determine the way you handle that child when situations arises and before situation arises. So when we think of discipline is the structures and program you have put in place to train this child, teach this child, groom this child, even before situations, in preparation for whatever will happen in the future. So when something goes wrong in the future, that's where correction comes in. So discipline is not just about what we do when things go wrong or when a child misbehaves. It's a structure we put in place to help this child to know what to do when things happen in the future. Okay? Remember that your children are God's seeds. So they are not just like every other child. You shouldn't look at them like every other child in the world. However, we need to be sensitive that because the children of this world is wise, if not wiser, that's why we should be able to put things in place and apply the wisdom of God, knowing that the children of this world has the capacity to influence the precious seed God has given you. Okay? So we should train our children based on what God has written concerning them, what God has put in their DNA. There is a spiritual DNA for everyone. I didn't turn out, and I am not the same person with my siblings. Were we groomed in the same house? Yes. Did we have a common value? Yes. Vision, I will say I'm not sure. Okay? So, but what I'm saying is we all turned out differently simply because there is a spiritual DNA, whether our parents identified it or not, whether we struggled into it, or we even, some of us might have lost it and didn't even realize that there was something spectacular about us. But God is calling us now. And that is why this platform is here, to help every family discover that there is something unique about you and about the children God has given to us. And it's a greater assignment, higher than what we might be doing. Because I understand how responsibilities weigh us down, and then the mean and minor, the things that are most significant and important, which has to do with the destiny of the children, of the family God has put in our hands, because they have been set to preserve the next generation. With what is happening, if we don't take our position as families, raising children with destiny in mind, who will end up replicating the evil and the social vices happening out there, not with intentionality, because nobody will intentionally want to raise children who will become troublesome to them or even a trouble to the society. No. But due to lack of knowledge, lack of insensitivity, and not knowing that we've been called to a higher assignment other than tendering and providing for our children, giving them good education, praying for them to marry a good husband, and then under our roof, they are captured and taken away by the children of this world. So yes, as a parent, there is a demand on us to rise up, to take up the position of the priesthood, manning the gates of the destinies of the children that has been put into our place. This, if you are aware of this, helps you realize that no matter the trouble you go through in your business or at work, in your daily activity, that when you come back home, that there is something greater than just saying, my children, how are you? Did you eat? Did you sleep well today? Did you enjoy your day at school? That there is something greater than those. Are they essential? Very. But there is something greater than that. That is to tell you that every child has a part, a specific part. They've been all brought into the same world, but their parts are different. They've been all brought into the same family, but their parts are different. Your job is not to force it on anyone. Your job is not to demand that your child will be a medical doctor or a lawyer or a nurse or that. It is not in you to determine that, because those career pathways are also their part to establishing or becoming what God has called them to be. So I was teaching the youth the other day when we had a team on purposeful youth, or a youth with purpose, that your career is your platform. Because sometimes if you don't let them realize that, they will be so engrossed in becoming whatever profession they have chosen that they lose the sight of what they've been called to function in that career. So people take up a career, they are so sold out to it that their primary purpose of creation suffers. So when you are supporting your child according to what you have heard of God, you need to help this child have a clear template of why he is where he is or where he's going. So even if he's the president of America tomorrow, he knows that I'm in this position for a time like this, just like Esther understood. She has been called into the queenhood because of a time. Does your children understand why they have been called to what they are doing at that point and in that place? Do you as a parent understand that you are raising children who has been called to fulfill an assignment in their generation? And are you training them based on that insight? This requires for you to discern what I have just explained and walk them through it. Train them accordingly so they don't drift. Because when they do, it's because we have failed or we fell in our assignment to really help these children. So all their life, all they need is to be good children, make good grade, obey mommy and daddy, what else? All those good things we define as good children, but they lack the capacity to fulfill their destiny. Many of them struggle, even in the part of becoming who they really want to be in their profession. There will still be this emptiness, this void in them, which eternity has put in place for them to function. It's the part of destiny that helps people live a fulfilling life, not just the career fulfillment. So you see people, they are doing well in career, they are doing well in business, but somehow, somewhere, something is lacking. Is that demand of heaven upon their destiny that is causing that empty feeling in them. So let's get real. Here's how to raise children with destiny in mind. 1. Ask God, who is this child? What have you called this child to be in her generation? Because you need to first sort it out with God for you to be able to understand and then help your child become that which God has called her or him to be. It should be your starting point. And please, whenever you get clarity of this, write it down. If possible, get a family book where you have the name of each of your child, scribbling down what God has told you concerning them so you don't forget. Okay? Secondly, correct with their future in focus. So when you are dealing with this child, remember that this child is not an ordinary child. This child is a precious seed. This child is an assignment to you that you will give account to. Therefore, don't shame them. Forget about your emotions that you have not worked on. Please go and work on it, because it will determine a lot how you deal with your children. Don't shame them. Shape them. Put them in the right shape. Let your word, your conversation, your dealings, your correction, everything you do, your disciplinary measure, be intentional towards helping this child in the capacity this child requires to become what God has created her to be. And of course, in your connection, in your training, you have to be able to connect with them. Explain to them every day, every opportunity you have, who they are, why you are being intentional and putting things in measure to train them well. Help them understand why they are restricted from some things that others don't do. Because yes, they will question you. Why they are restricted from some things others do, they are not allowed to do. Because they will question you. They will wonder, why is it my mates are doing this and I cannot do it? This is where you need to intentionally connect with them and keep emphasizing on their special calling, on their destiny, because they've been called out from the rest to be able to save the rest. Okay? Thirdly, prophesy every moment. During casual moments you have with them, as you are waking them up, speak into their life. Speak what God has told you. Speak what you have discerned. When you are walking along with them, speak into their life. When you feel like saying something negative, remember their destiny in mind. Change what you want to say and say something positive. It does not matter what you are saying. The Bible says that foolishness abides in the heart of a child. So they will display foolishness. because they are exploring. They are also in confusion, trying to understand what the world is all about. So they will do a lot of things that will trigger you. So in that trigger, in your anger, in your distress, in your frustration, let positivity come out of you. Okay? When you are doing your breakfast, call them, you are a builder. I set it in you. You know, I have my child that will say, I'm a fixer. I say, yes, you're a fixer of destinies, a fixer of things that goes wrong. Whatever that fixer means, it means that whatever goes wrong, you have the capacity to fix it. So what am I saying? Whenever you have the opportunity, affirm, confirm, confess that yes, this is who you are. Even if you have not seen it, call it out. Okay? Your voice should build their worldview. Even when they grow, they will remember your trust and your belief in them and the capacity that you have of them. So even when failure comes, trouble comes, they will remember the voice of mommy and daddy. That yes, I can do it. I have been created for such a time as this. I cannot be overwhelmed or overcome by the troubles of life. I am created to live and not die. Sometimes some things will happen to me, and you know that voice of, are you sure you will not die from this? Are you sure this will not happen? And then a voice stronger than that will come. You have been created for something great and you have not even started. That you will fulfill. So death has no place for you yet. So these are the voices of people who have spoken into my life, of my connection with God, of what I know I've been called into. And yes, in this work, in this training of my destiny in mind, you must not fail to connect them with their maker, because it's their relationship with God that will take them higher and far than you can take them. You cannot always be there, but God will always be there. He is forever there. He has been before you and will be there forever, even after you are far gone. So connect them to God. And yes, finally, destiny requires community. Don't run in isolation. Don't let your children run in isolation. Try to structure around people that share similar views, similar vision, similar passion. Form a community of people who will be of support system, because sometimes you'll be discouraged, sometimes you will be weighed down. People you will hear their testimonies, people that will share their own troubles too, and you'll be, oh, I'm not alone. People that will share their own views, what they have done to overcome, and you pick from it. People that may have a guideline that support families. And yes, people like Family Nest Academy, where we share on how to support your families at every stage to go through challenges, run through vision, and fulfill what God has called them to be. Yes. And because of my time, I once had a boy that was expelled twice. Okay. The parents were frustrated. They thought they have done all they could. But then the mom's faith held on. She held on to her faith. And she said, my son is a protector. That anger is leadership misdirected. Then she decided to get him into mentorship and involved prayer and structure. Today, that boy trains other boys on how to lead without violence. Why am I ending with this story? That parent had destiny in mind. She was not overwhelmed with all the troubles she was seeing in that boy. She saw his future and she put things in place. So as a parent, put structures in place. get your children support system. Like I've said in my some videos or previous videos, there is a level of influence you have over your children that dissipates as they are growing. Try to put people in those positions that you will not occupy as they are growing, so that they will not fail, so that system will put them in position, in place, in check, and you will always be able to monitor their progress without being relegated. Position yourself as a mentor to your child, that even when they no longer see the need to come and talk to you, when something hooks them, they will remember mommy and daddy are still there, and they will come, and you will take your prophetic position and your priestly position to intervene. Yes, continue praying as you are putting structures in mind, and remember, your child has been created for a powerful purpose, something greater than feeding, eating, and becoming whatever career they are pursuing. And I pray that the grace of God will enable every parent listening to me to fulfill that assignment of raising children with destiny in mind, and that every child that has been or will be raised through us will turn out to be a mighty instrument in God's hand in transforming their generation, in being relevant wherever they are found. They will not follow the crowd. They will not join others to do what they are doing, but they will be that single transforming instrument in touching lives and making heaven proud. And yes, thank you for joining me again today. I am still Princess Francisca Ovichinze. We brought this to you from Family Nest Academy, where we empower families to fulfill their destiny and build legacies. Do have a lovely day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.